RHOSLC, did Britani Bateman's ex-husband demand sex? Major drama has been unraveling for Britani Bateman as she handles her divorce proceedings. She used to be married to John Scott Underwood, but they've since called it quits. Britani's a familiar face to reality TV lovers since she stars on Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Her divorce from John might have been finalized last year in October, but certain details of their toxic marriage are barely coming to the surface now. According to Britani, married life was extremely rocky for a while before they decided to go their own separate ways. Here's what we know. Britani Bateman made some serious claims against John Scott Underwood. Based on a statement obtained by Daily Mail, it seems Britani truly went through the ringer while she was married to John. The ex-couple was legally wed for 6.5 years, but during that time, things were pretty difficult for Britani behind closed doors. She described John as being very controlling and abusive. Apparently, John wanted the final say when it came to Britani's perfume, makeup, clothing, and other beauty products. He wanted power over Britani's appearance whether she was in his presence or out somewhere without him. Britani claims he dictated which nail polish colors she was allowed to wear and how many days per week she worked out at the gym. Financial control was happening as well because Britani claims she had to tell John about every dollar she would spend. Britani's social life was impacted just as much. She says he manipulated her social schedule to control who she spent time with, including her own children and other family members. According to Britani, she wasn't allowed to make direct eye contact with other men in public. She wasn't allowed to look through any of John's personal belongings, including his phone, his drawers, or his safe. And when it came to social media usage, she had to be the first person to comment on all of his posts as quickly as possible. John Scott Underwood's response. John isn't ready to admit to any of the accusations against him. Randy S. Kest is John's attorney. He released a statement in defense of John saying, "One of the most disturbing details of all comes down to Britani and John's sex life. She says she was expected to submit to sexual intercourse on demand, sometimes several times a day, and prohibited her from ever complaining about it." Britani's claims against John are alarming, to say the least. In the stormy world of reality television, especially within the confines of the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, drama is inevitable. But when the personal lives of the cast members come under intense scrutiny, things get messy. Such was the case when Britani Bateman, a newcomer to the RHOSLC franchise, found herself at the center of a headline-grabbing controversy. The question swirled. Did her ex-husband really demand sex from her, or was it just another case of reality TV exaggeration? It all started during a particularly explosive season of RHOSLC, where Britani, who had been brought on to spice things up with her glamorous lifestyle and sharp tongue, found herself in the eye of a social media storm. She had been relatively quiet about her personal life, until a tense dinner party with the other housewives erupted in a wild exchange of accusations. That's when Britani dropped a bombshell that would leave the audience, as well as the rest of the cast, in shock. Sitting across from her co-stars in the posh dining room of a Salt Lake City restaurant, Britani's expression darkened as she recounted the painful details of her previous marriage. Her ex-husband, who she never mentioned before, was now being dragged into the public eye. She explained how her marriage had been filled with emotional turmoil and broken trust. But what really caught everyone's attention was her allegation that he had, at one point, demanded sex from her, even after they had separated. It wasn't just about wanting intimacy, she said, her voice tight with emotion. It was about control. I felt like I had no say in my own body, and it was terrifying. Britani's confession sent ripples through the table. Meredith Marks, the show's reigning queen of calm, was the first to react, her face a mixture of shock and concern. "Wait, are you saying he forced you?" she asked, her tone both soft and serious. "No," Britani replied quickly, shaking her head. "It wasn't like that. But it was manipulative. He would guilt-trip me, tell me I owed him, that we had to keep up appearances for the sake of our family. He knew how to work me, how to make me feel like I was failing as a wife and a mother." The room grew tense, with every eye on Britani as she relived her painful experiences. Lisa Barlow, always ready with her own brand of empathy, leaned forward, her hands clasped tightly. "That's incredibly tough, Britani," she said, her voice gentle. "But you don't owe anyone anything. You deserve to have control over your own body." Jinsha, who had been unusually quiet during the conversation, suddenly spoke up. "That's abusive behavior, plain and simple," she declared. "No one should make you feel obligated to have sex if you don't want to, no matter the circumstances." The conversation grew heated, with the group offering varying levels of support for Britani. Some, like Heather Gay, emphasized the power of female autonomy, while others, such as Whitney Rose, took a more analytical approach, wondering why Britani had stayed in such a toxic relationship for so long. But it wasn't just the women who were discussing Britani's personal life. Fans of the show quickly latched onto the explosive revelation, and soon social media was flooded with opinions. Some viewers expressed sympathy for Britani, sharing their own stories of manipulation in relationships. Others were skeptical, claiming that it was all just another dramatic narrative for the show, a calculated attempt to grab attention and boost ratings. As the season progressed, the question of whether Britani's ex-husband had truly demanded sex from her was never fully resolved. In the world of reality TV, such personal allegations are often left in a gray area, with producers choosing not to delve deeper into potentially dangerous territory. There were no clear answers, only fragments of conversations and cryptic moments that left the audience guessing. But as the reunion special drew near, Britani's story took another unexpected turn. In a tense one-on-one interview, Britani was asked directly about her ex-husband's behavior. "Do you feel like you were ever pressured into intimacy, even after the divorce?" the host inquired. Britani hesitated, her fingers nervously tapping against her glass of wine. "I think the line between manipulation and consent can sometimes be really blurry," she said finally, her voice small. "And I'll admit it took me a long time to realize that I didn't have to say yes to things I wasn't comfortable with." The room was quiet as the audience processed her words. For some, it was a moment of clarity, a deep and honest reflection of a woman coming to terms with her past. For others, it was an uncomfortable reminder that the lines between entertainment and reality can often become too tangled to untangle. As the reunion continued, Britani's co-stars rallied around her. But they also began questioning the role of reality television in their lives. Was it worth airing such painful details for the sake of entertainment? Was it right to bring up such personal matters, knowing the potential consequences? These questions hung in the air like an unspoken agreement between the housewives, that sometimes reality TV can cross a line that should never have been crossed. Britani's story, however, didn't end on a note of unresolved tension. By the season's final moments, she had found a new strength. She had learned to take control of her narrative, to stand firm in her boundaries, and to demand the respect she deserved. While the details of her ex-husband's actions may remain unclear, one thing was certain. Britani was no longer afraid to speak up and reclaim her power. In the end, the truth about Britani Bateman's marriage and the nature of her ex-husband's behavior may never be fully revealed. But her story served as a powerful reminder of the complexities that lie beneath the surface of reality TV, and the importance of honoring one's own voice, no matter how difficult the journey may be.